Have you ever wondered what games you should keep or you should lose? Find out here at Purge Reviews.
So here's a solo variant that comes with Nations, the dice game. So each round you're going to play exactly the same. You're going to have the arrow that comes out. So when this comes out, what you're going to do is you're going to roll a blue die. So in the second arrow you'll roll 2, third arrow you'll roll 3, and the fourth arrow. So every book that you roll will move up the AI player up on the books. In this case, I had rolled 2 books. Now, if I had rolled stone on this, it wouldn't have moved at all. But because I rolled the 2 books, he'd move up twice on the book track. And once again, at the end of the round, I'm going to be trying to score more books than him. If I'm able to have more books, I'm purple, he's red, then I would score 2 victory points at the end of the game. If I'm below him or with him, there are no points given. So that's going to be something different. It's going to happen every round. So in arrow 2, we would then roll 2 of these, and I scored 1 book, so he would move up again. So that's going to happen at the beginning of each round. Now, everything else about the game is going to go exactly the same. So when we start out, we're going to have our 5 dice and our 2 little chits here, and we will be ready to go. We roll our dice, and we will be able to purchase things. So let's say I spent this because I want to get Sun Tzu. I would get my little token for him. Now what's going to happen is you're going to roll the 4-sided die for the AI. So what he's going to do, this is a 1. So you get rid of the lowest one, and this gets discarded out. Then let's say I do my re-roll, and I want to re-roll these. Oh, I got 3 of these now, so I can buy another one of these. So I'll spend this to add this in. Now I have to discard a white die because I'm covering it up. So I'll use one I've already used. And I'll grab a blue die, which I would roll immediately. So everything's exactly the same as the base game, but after I took an action, I would go ahead and roll this, another one for the white one, rather. So I take the next lowest one, and that will come out of the game. And that will continue on just like the multiplayer game. Everything else plays exactly the same. At the end of the game, you add up whatever score you got, and you'll see here, you get 50 points, you're Trajan, 10, you're Dan Quayle. I guess that's some kind of joke. 25 is Victoria, 15 is Cleopatra, etc. So, depending on how high that you get, will dictate what your point is. So you're trying to beat that scoring mechanism every time you play. Everything's exactly the same as multiplayer, except for you roll this dice to move up the books, and then after every time you take a turn, you roll the dice and get rid of a tile. You play 4 rounds, and then you have your score, and you try to beat your score every single time. As for the solo experience, it's okay. I mean, it does simulate what it's like to have a player playing. I think it does okay. I actually think it takes away from the multiplayer that it does play so well, which a couple random rolls of the dice can simulate a player. It's not a real good effect for the game. You do need to go up to the board and get what you want. Playing around and running the risk of this die taking something that you really, really need is not the way to play. Get what you need. Normally, getting extra dice is a great way to go. If you can afford the extra dice, it's a great way to go. So in this case, I get rid of the 3. I pick this up. I have to discard a white for good, but I get an extra blue in that I immediately get to roll, which can be super powerful. If you're not getting extra dice, you are not going to score well, and it's pretty straightforward as you go. Sure, the extra little tokens and tiles that you can get can be very helpful. And some of these, it was kind of unclear in the book. Like, is this a one-time get, or do I get this from my leader every single round? But a little unclear with the rules, just in general with the game. But I think that it works fine. If you want a 15-minute solo game with kind of a lot of pieces going on, rolling some dice, I think this is a fun little experience. It might work best as a solo game, to be honest. As a multiplayer game, it's okay, but the solo game does kind of shine here. Is it something you need, must add to your collection? Probably not. I think it's okay. It's very simplistic what you're doing. The more you roll, the better you roll, the better off you're going to be. If you can get a lot of dice, I think the higher score you're going to have. That's my 2 cents. So if a lot of these come out, because you're not using all of the tiles, I think that you're going to have a better score than if they don't come out. And that's kind of what I think after quite a few plays. So that's Nation of the Dice Game solo game. I think it's probably a 6 or a 7 as a solo experience. Some people are really, really, really going to enjoy this. I think it might work better as a solo experience than the multiplayer, in my 2 cents.